More Ohio University organizations are under investigation for hazing. A ceasefire agreement is reached in Turkey. And in sports, Ohio prepares to welcome Kent State this weekend. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Connor Keurig. Thank you for joining us. Ohio lawmakers are taking steps to ensure members of the LGBTQ community cannot be discriminated against. Last night, Democrat Michael Skindle and Republican Brett Hillier introduced the latest version of the Ohio Fairness Act. The bill forbids housing and employment discrimination against members of the LGBT community. A similar bill has been filed every session of legislation since 2003, but has only one passage in the House in 2009, before it died in the Senate. John Light, the former longtime president of Hocking College, died yesterday, according to a university press release. Light served as the president of Hocking College from its inception in 1967 until 2009. At the time of his departure, Light was one of the longest-serving university presidents in the country. No cause of death or funeral plans are known at the moment. 3 more Ohio University student organizations are under investigation for violations in the Code of Conduct. Social Fraternity Pi Kappa Phi and Business Fraternity Alpha Kappa Psi were both issued cease and desist letters today. A similar letter was also sent to the men's club rugby team on Monday. Pi Kappa Phi is the 9th fraternity officially under investigation by the university. Alpha Kappa Psi joins Phi Chi Theta as the other business fraternity under investigation. Ohio University has created a webpage to see the status of these student organizations and others during the ongoing investigations. It sorts organizations by fraternity and sorority life organizations, athletic campus organizations, student organizations, and other organizations. It gives the name of every organization currently under investigation, probation, or suspension. It also names organizations expelled from the university. Now, let's take a look at our first look at weather from Adlai.
Hello, I am Adlai Karwish, and right now it is 56 degrees with humidity at 48%, pressure at 29.91, and it's a bit windy outside, winds coming from the west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Moving along here right now throughout the area, 56 in Chillicothe, 57 in Jackson, and 56 in Ripley. So all around in the upper to mid 50s all around southeastern Ohio. And it's going to be a pretty cool night tonight. A cold night tonight, 35 degrees. Cloudy, then clear. Winds coming from the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And it's just going to be one of those nights that just really got you cold. And coming up, we're going to see maybe a little bit of a warm-up coming in the weekend, and maybe a good weekend ahead.
So it sounds like it'll be a good time for folks to be outside since we have a warm weekend on the way.
Yeah, and especially seeing something like the OU football game on Saturday.
Fantastic. Thanks, Adlai. West Virginia has the Southern District Court has a new judge. Frank W. Volk has been confirmed by the U.S. Senate, with a unanimous 92-0 vote. West Virginia Senators Joe Manchin and Shelley Moore Capito both say they voted for Volk's confirmation. Volk previously worked as the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of West Virginia. Volk fills the vacancy created by Judge John T. Copenhaver taking senior status. Also in West Virginia, a legislative audit has cited more than 500 violations of a job act by the state's Division of Labor. The audit was on a West Virginia act that was intended to give local workers the majority of roles on state-funded public works projects. It found that contractors failed to have 75% of their workers be from West Virginia. The contractors were fined more than $100,000 altogether during the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Months prior, another legislative audit deemed the act to be ineffective and recommended its repeal. Two Kentucky school administrators pleaded not guilty to charges that they mishandled sexual abuse allegations against a teacher. Franklin County Superintendent Mark Kopp is charged with trying to bribe a public servant, while Bondurant Middle School principal Whitney Allison is charged with failure to neglect or abuse. The investigation into them stems from the arrest of Todd Joseph Smith, who was charged with sexually abusing children under 16. The leader of a violent gang has been sentenced to life in prison for his role in the killings of 5 people. Authorities say 34-year-old Martin Neftali Aguilar Rivera was the leader of the Central Ohio branch of the El Salvador-based MS-13 gang. Aguilar Rivera is among 29 others charged in recent years in a large Central Ohio racketeering conspiracy that includes murder, drug trafficking, and other charges. According to U.S. Attorney Benjamin Glassman, the gang leader's defense team called the outcome a just sentence, as Aguilar Rivera could have faced the death penalty. Last night, Cleveland had a rally centered around opioids. The rally, however, was in favor of opioids this time. WOIO reports the Don't Punish Pain rally saw several patients suffering from pain speak out about the negative impact the response to the opioid crisis has had on them. They say the CDC's response to the opioid crisis has made it nearly impossible to get painkillers needed for their conditions.
We have been force tapered off of vital medications that we need just for activities of daily living and for quality of life.
Did CDC guidelines mean doctors can no longer prescribe certain medications, many which serve pain needs? The rally was part of a series of nationwide protests held yesterday. And in Cleveland, one of the city's most famous athletes got a surprise he wasn't expecting. While stopped at a red light, someone asked Cleveland Browns' Myles Garrett for a picture. Garrett told the man one moment, but the man instead turned and punched Garrett in the face. Garrett then called the police. He told them he wasn't hurt, just surprised. Garrett later tweeted about the incident, saying that maybe if the assailant put some legs into the punch, it would make him flinch. Someone saw the event and reported the license plate number to authorities. A section of Blaine Highway has finally been reopened after almost 9 months of work. The section being reopened is between Ohio 772 and US 50 in Ross County. The work cost roughly $1.2 million and was funded by the Federal Highway Administration as well as the county. Ross County engineer Charles Ortman said major slippages led to the road's original closure in February. Vinton County schools are being recognized by the Ohio Department of Transportation. Students from all 5 schools in the district took part in the Paint the Plow program, where they painted a different snowplow. The plows are featured on the Department of Transportation District 10 Facebook page. Users can vote on which of the 5 plows is the best up until next Thursday on the Audit District 10 Facebook page. After much debate, the White House admits there was quid pro quo with Russia, and a ceasefire is reached.
Think Wednesday on PBS. For stories from the world around us. Stories of a lush paradise.
A place of color, immense beauty, abundance.
A mobility revolution.
We're venturing into science fiction.
And our powerful planet.
Earth appears to be still, but look closer.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central. Think PBS.
Are you nervous?
你紧张吗? A
A little bit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why?
Things run a little differently in this Queen's courtroom.
No one in here wants to see you in jail.
Meet a team of rebel heroines working to change the way prostitution cases are prosecuted.
She was in crisis and he just swooped in.
We are going to grant an early sealing. Yay!
Blowing up on POV.
Prison is here to punish us. It's not about rehabilitating. It just isn't.
This is a full-time, total commitment. When that door closes, you're at Bard College.
It's hard, it's difficult, but it's rewarding.
I gotta prove that I'm worthy of this.
They're trying to pay back to society.
It changes your whole outlook.
I realized I learned something. That is where transformation happens. That is what stops people from coming back to prison.
College Behind Bars, Monday, November 25th at 9/8 Central, only on PBS.
Behind the crisis on the border,
Stephen Miller and Jeff Sessions and myself had a dinner in this very room.
lie years of planning.
The audaciousness of what they were plotting.
They literally put children in cages.
Stephen Miller believes any time the country is focused on immigration, the president is winning.
The three men behind Zero Tolerance.
They use their power over immigration in ways we have not seen for a generation.
The White House is now saying there was quid pro quo between President Trump and the leader of Ukraine. Trump has previously denied that any favors were traded in his conversation with Vladimir Zelensky that led to ongoing impeachment inquiry. But on Thursday, Trump's acting chief of staff made a different statement when asked why President Trump was withholding aid to Ukraine.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. We were holding up money at the same time for, the Northern Triangle countries. We were holding up aid at the Northern Triangle countries so that they would change their policies on immigration.
Mulvaney was referring to the part of Trump's phone call when he pushed Ukraine to look into the DNC server that was hacked during the 2016 election. That appears to be based on a conspiracy theory that the server may have been stashed away in Ukraine after the election. The Trump administration just announced a ceasefire agreement with Turkey, halting its incursion into northern Syria. Speaking in Turkey, Vice President Mike Pence says Kurdish-led forces will withdraw from the safe zone. Nadia Romero explains what we know about the talks between the U.S. and Turkey today.
Cameras were not allowed inside during the majority of the U.S.-Turkey ceasefire negotiations. But right after the hours-long meeting between Turkey and the U.S., Vice President Pence spoke to reporters claiming victory.
Turkey and the United States of America have agreed to a ceasefire in Syria. It will be a pause in military operations for 120 hours while the United States facilitates the withdrawal of YPG from the affected areas in the safe zone. And once that is completed, Turkey has agreed to a permanent ceasefire.
President Trump touting the deal after landing in Texas for a fundraiser and campaign rally.
This is an amazing outcome.
Vice President Pence says U.S. sanctions placed on Turkey last week will be lifted once the ceasefire becomes permanent. That could happen after Kurdish-led forces leave the safe zone.
I know it's already underway as we speak.
Turkish officials telling CNN they got exactly what they wanted out of the meeting. But later, Turkey's foreign minister saying in a press conference, quote, "This is not a ceasefire." Before the deal was announced, the House approved a resolution opposing President Trump's decision to remove U.S. troops from Syria. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying it could lead to a possible resurgence of ISIS.
Calls for the president to show a clear plan for how Americans will be protected from ISIS.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero reporting.
Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings has died at the age of 68. His office made the announcement Thursday morning. He was born and raised in Baltimore, a community he represented for over 20 years in Congress. Cummings was a fixture in U.S. politics and an advocate for civil rights. He was the chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Reform and led the charge for an impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. Those who worked with Cummings held him in high regard.
For those of you who know, I was in Congress for a couple years with Mr. Cummings and on the committee with him. Had a chance to work with him on a day-in, day-out basis, and he would be missed. He was a classy guy, and I enjoyed much working with him. And the condolences from my family and all of the White House group to his family today.
His office says the cause of death was ongoing health issues. In Brussels, Britain and the EU will sign off on a new deal in a matter of hours. Earlier, the British Prime Minister called it an excellent deal for his country, but Prime Minister Johnson still needs to get his deal approved in the UK Parliament. Northern Ireland's DUP says it can't support the agreement. Northern Ireland will still follow some EU rules, notably related to goods. All checks on goods would only take place at points of entry to Northern Ireland. Also, Northern Ireland would remain legally in the UK's customs territory. EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, says he's hopeful for the resolution.
Brexit has been a negative experience. It's a lose-lose process, but I hope that they will build on that unity to face up to the many challenges, which is part of a very positive agenda for the future of the EU and European citizens.
After 4 years elected, representatives from Northern Ireland will vote on whether to continue these arrangements. Vape company Juul stops selling all but 3 flavors. That story's still ahead.
And coming up on Newswatch, weather's looking pretty nice for the weekend, and that's all coming up.
What's up, everybody? I am Joseph Hennessy, the host of Gridiron Glory, and wow, this season is flying by. It is week 8 of football already, so tune in on Friday at 11:30 p.m. and on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. for the repeats of our show. This week, we're going to be talking more about our Player of the Year and Coach of the Year candidates throughout our entire coverage. Connor Wright leads the way, Keegan Wilburn, just to name a couple, so stick around to see who else is in the list. Remember, there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Are your ducks in a row? Almost half of Americans do not have a proper estate plan. Estate plans are more than matters of money and inheritance. They can guide your future health decisions and provide special instructions for loved ones in your care. Put your mind at ease by getting your ducks in a row today.
Behind the crisis on the border,
Stephen Miller and Jeff Sessions and myself had a dinner in this very room.
lie years of planning.
The audaciousness of what they were plotting?
They literally put children in cages.
Stephen Miller believes anytime the country is focused on immigration, the president is winning.
The 3 men behind zero tolerance.
They use their power over immigration in ways we have not seen for a generation.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. Why?
Things run a little differently in this Queen's courtroom.
No one in here wants to see you in jail.
Meet a team of rebel heroines working to change the way prostitution cases are prosecuted.
She was in crisis and he just swooped in.
We are going to grant an early sealing. Yay!
Blowing up on POV.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Adelaide Carwish. Right now it is 56 degrees, humidity at 48%, pressure at 29.9, and it's a bit windy outside. Winds coming from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. All around the southeastern Ohio area, you see Columbus at 54, Chillicothe at 56, Jackson at 57, and Ripley at 56, so all around in the mid to upper 50s. Moving forward, we see the temperature map today. You can see the whole area of Ohio and West Virginia seems to be in the cooler side today, only in the Greens, seen in the 50s, and maybe you get into 60, maybe towards the southern parts. Moving forward tonight, 35 degrees. It's going to be a cooler night tonight. Make sure you bring a heavy coat if you are going out tonight. It will be a little cloudy and then clear. Winds to the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight in southeastern Ohio, Ripley at 37, Columbus also at 37, Chillicothe at 36, so all around into the mid to upper 30s, but still pretty cold outside, especially as we get more towards fall in November. Tomorrow, only 60 degrees. It's going to be a bit cooler, but it is mostly sunny. It will be a pretty nice day. Winds coming from the north at 0 to 5 miles per hour. So it'll be a pretty nice day outside. So do enjoy it if you do want to take a walk. Jackson at 61, Ripley at 62, and Columbus at 60. New Lexington at 59, one of the few towns that are still in the 50s, but most towns around here will reach 60 or above. Weekend outlook here. You see Friday night it's going to be cold, 34 degrees. It's going to be clear and cold. Saturday it's going to start warming up, and that's what's beautiful. And 69 degrees. It's going to be sunny and warm, and it's going to be a great day. We'll talk about the OU game coming up in just a little bit. Sunday, 72 degrees. It's going to be a nice sunny day. And that's moving forward. Take a look at your preset map for tomorrow morning. You're going to see this high pressure right here. That's just going to move through here as we go to tomorrow night, and that will move through here. And For the OU game on Saturday, we'll take a look at that. If you are tailgating, it'll be sunny outside, but it will only be 45 degrees, so you will have to go. 58 come game time and 66 at the end of the game. Take a look at your 7-day outlook here. Moving forward, the weekend looks nice. Monday, you'll reach your highest at 76, but Tuesday, that's when the warm leads and that's when the rain comes.
Thanks for the updates, Adlai. Now, Juul will no longer sell flavors that some say are popular with young vapors. Now, only tobacco, mint, and menthol flavors will remain on sale at retail stores. Meanwhile, Juul's mango, cream, fruit, and cucumber flavors have already been removed from the online store. That was the only place they were available to consumers 21 and over until now. The company had actually pulled them from retail locations late last year, but the flavored pods will continue to be sold around the U.S. Outside the U.S., Juul also recently announced it was suspending all broadcast, print, and digital product advertising in the United States. Across the United States, businesses are struggling to find workers. A new report shows a growing labor shortage due to baby boomers retiring and not enough young workers to replace them. In today's Consumer Watch, one market expert says increasing legal immigration could be the best fix.
Now hiring. According to June data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 39 states there are more jobs than there are people looking for work. And economists say the shortage is due in large part to the baby boomer generation retiring by the millions.
And because of that, the working age population in America is growing much more slowly, only about 0.2% per year this decade.
The labor shortage is being felt in all sectors, but especially in education. According to September federal labor statistics, there's currently a 307,000 job shortfall in public education that can't keep up with growing student enrollment. And recent teacher strikes in several states reveal the reason many applicants are staying away: low pay and lack of resources. Meanwhile, David Kelly, chief global strategist with JP Morgan Chase, argues that increasing legal immigration could help replace America's aging workforce.
So what you need to do, in fact, over the next decade is increase immigration, maybe from 1 million a year to 2 million a year. If you did that, you could actually grow the working age population.
He also suggests making 3-year college degrees more available and even delaying eligibility for Medicare benefits to retirees by 1 year until the age of 66. For Consumer Watch, I'm Reed Binion.
And now, WOUB's Dylan Thompson joins me on the desk to talk about a busy weekend of sports here in Athens.
2 big games from volleyball and soccer this weekend. But right after the break, football continues MAC play this weekend against Kent State. Hear from head coach Frank Solich.
The battle over Baby M, the landmark case that still shapes surrogacy today.
What comes next after one gets married? Kids.
Could a solution for global warming be found in a terrifying Cold War concept? Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz.
Pollution isn't bad. It's merely a sign that American industry is firing on all cylinders.
Retro Report on PBS.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the amazing variety of motion on the planet, revealing the constant swirling of the atmosphere, the relentless surge of water, the far-reaching travels of civilization, and even the migration of individual animals. Discover the surprising view of our home as you've never seen it before.
There is a place in Africa where everything lives in a state of tension. To live here is to live dangerously. But everything is drawn to this oasis, the Okavango. Join us for an unprecedented journey into this river world. It is paradise not lost, but found.
Traffic. Deadly crashes. Is there a better way?
Self-driving cars will eliminate road accidents.
A mobility revolution.
We're venturing into science fiction.
Or are we moving too fast?
Right for my car, it doesn't see it.
It's just simply not ready.
The stakes are high. Look Who's Driving on Nova.
Welcome back to sports. I'm Dylan Thompson. The Ohio football team lost last weekend at home, but the Bobcats are still very much alive for the MAC championship. Ohio currently sits at 2-4 overall, but 1-1 in the Mid-American Conference, and that loss is to Northern Illinois. For the Bobcats, the door for a MAC championship game appearance is still wide open.
We do not have a loss in our division, which is a plus for us. You know that you want to win all MAC games, but obviously your division wins are critical in terms of even having a chance at getting in the MAC championship.
This weekend, Ohio has their second MAC East game, this time against Kent State. Last season, Ohio made a late comeback to beat the Golden Flashes 27-26. Look for Ohio to try and establish the rushing attack against a smaller Kent State defense. Last season, the Bobcats only gained 132 yards on 37 carries against Kent State. This season, the Bobcats' dynamic rushing duo of Nathan Rorick and O'Shawn Allison have combined for 159 yards on the ground in each of the Bobcats' 2 MAC games.
3-3, and their staff's done an unbelievable job on year 2. Defensively, they've got 2 guys that are over 250. 2. That's, a linebacker, number 34, who we recruited out of high school, and nose guard. They are extremely fast. They cause problems.
The Golden Flashes are currently the only unbeaten team in the MAC East. Winning this game would vault Ohio to tied for the first place in the MAC East, now jumping from Peden Stadium to inside the Convo. The Ohio volleyball team has their breast cancer awareness weekend when the Bobcats host Ball State and Toledo. Last weekend, Ohio got 2 road victories, which put them within 1 game of the lead in the MAC East. Ohio now faces off against 2 cross-divisional opponents, including the 1 team in the MAC without a win, the Toledo Rockets. Ohio head coach Dean Webb still keeps the bar high for the team this weekend.
So what I challenge our team with, it's not about can we just win tonight. Can we strive for excellence? Can we go out and be the best version of ourselves and have that feeling? Because really what it feels like to play at the best of your ability is an incredible feeling. Call it flipping the switch, call it whatever you want to call it. When you get to that place, win or lose, you walk away thinking, man, that was great volleyball tonight. We played really, really well.
The Ohio soccer team also plays a home game this weekend. After a recent drop in form, the Bobcats currently sit with 7 points from 6 MAC games. This weekend, Ohio hosts 2 Michigan teams as Central and Eastern make the trip down to Athens. These will be the final home games of the regular season for the Ohio soccer team, as the final 3 games of the season are on the road. Ohio is currently tied for 7th in the MAC standings as the top 8 teams advance to the MAC tournament. Ohio needs to get back in the win column soon, as Olivia Molesky currently tied for 3rd in the MAC with 6 goals, and Abby Townsend leads the MAC with 8 assists. Freshman Maddie Young is also tied for 9th in the league with 4 assists. It should be an important weekend for the at Chesapeake Field for the Bobcats.
Thanks, Dylan. Identical twin newborns welcomed into the world by identical twin nurses. It happened last month at Piedmont Athens Regional Medical Center in Athens, Georgia. By chance, the twin nurses, Tori Howard and Tara Drinkard, got to help deliver Addison and Emma Williams. The baby's father, Brennan Williams, said he was really nervous going into the delivery room, but when he heard there would be twin nurses assisting with the birth, it relaxed him a little bit. The babies are doing well and are scheduled to go home Thursday.
And I'm Adley, and here's a look at your final weather here. 60 degrees tomorrow. It's mostly sunny, maybe a few clouds here and there, but it is a bit cooler. We take a look at your 7-day outlook here. 60 on Friday. The weekend looks beautiful. 69, 72, and even Monday, 76. But rain comes on Tuesday. Connor, I'll send it back to you.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. Make sure to tune in every Friday night on WOUB at 11:30 p.m. and make sure to keep up with all of our social media. Remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.